Hello Facebook, hello YouTube, who will be watching this later on. We are live on Facebook tonight. YouTube audience, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this after it's done, thanks for watching. I will suggest that YouTube guys, if you want to watch these lives, please go over to Phil Sinclair Paranormal on Facebook. This is where they will be live. I will be uploading the video onto YouTube. So, how are we, YouTube? Facebook, sorry. How are we? Hi Sarah, Angie, Carla has come on. David Sinclair. Oh, top fan, David. Yeah, brilliant guys. Let's see if we can get these badges, top fan badges and things like that. Let's keep it going. Brilliant stuff. 21 people watching. It's gonna be interesting tonight. It's gonna be good. It's really gonna be. I'm looking forward to it. It's a nice evening. There's no rain, no wind. Every time I come here, it's always windy, and it's not like that at this time.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the channel. Tonight's a bit of a weird one because
Yeah, it's all good. I'll tell you who I'm with in a minute. So it's going to be good, guys. I'm going to enjoy it tonight. It might not be all. We are going to investigate tonight, but also we want you to listen to the history. We want to be scientific about the paranormal. Okay, we're going to be a lot of information tonight regarding what sets scientific equipment off and things like that. We're going to be scientific tonight, but we are going to be investigating, and we are going to be doing a tour of the area. So it's going to be really, really good. Hi Chloe, Chrissy, Mandy. How are we doing, guys?
It's coming up now. So we're going to go down, the pair of us, and you're going to be the third person, unless there's 3 people in the room, you'll be the 5th person. I don't know, I guess a bit confused.
Yeah, let me know if the sound's okay, guys.
You're going to be the 3rd person. So we're going to do this for people who want to know all the ins and outs of a bit of the history.
Cheers, guys. Right. So yeah, it's going to be good, guys. It's going to be brilliant. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. So, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about the paranormal hauntings of this area. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the scientific equipment. Paranormal as a scientific aspect, So it's brilliant. So, I'm with Iain.
How do you do, everybody?
Iain is the man with the knowledge of this particular area. He's going to be talking to you guys and giving you a little tour of the area, and he's just going to we're going to investigate later and see what we can do, etc.
It's an overview of the urban legend and folklore, also some of the history, etc, of Roche Abbey, and it's ideal. I'm doing a little video on here. It's like this is the 3rd person who's sort of walking around with us, and what I'm doing is I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel, so anybody who's interested in this information can go on there, because I've had lots of people asking me constantly about the history and the urban legend and folklore, what I've experienced, the best and most active locations at Roche Abbey, etc. So I'm doing this little video on here, so you guys can go on to this one, or you can re-watch this one, whichever you want. You've got 2 options of Roche Abbey. It's a virtual ghost tour. So are we ready?
We'll go. Phil? So Ian's literally told you the location we're at. Hundreds and hundreds of years old, people, there's been stories of witches, headless horsemen.
You remember it all?
I remember.
Well
I remember. I've done my homework. It's all going to be good, and the night is falling. It's coming in, should I say? So it's all good. So it's good. It's a good place to be.
I'll point out right now that the road, it is the road. It used to be a track that we're on now. Was put in place after the disillusionment of the monastery. This wasn't here originally when the monastery was open. It was used and created to carry the stone out to the village. Does that make sense? So we didn't have to walk all the way around the bottom of the valley.
No,
and up Gypsy Lane.
This is a road, and they just took the stone to and from, etc.
And this is a private road now.
Private, yeah, it's a private road now, but you imagine it back in the day, I will add, guys, if please share this out in the groups, etc. Let's share it on your pages. Let everyone know we are now live. Get as many into this live stream as possible who's wanting to watch, and it's all going to be good.
You've got to be in it to win it, mate.
We've got to be there. You know, it's going to be it's going to be a feast of knowledge for you guys.
As we come down to this bit, this private road which we're on now has been tarmacked, and it will go onto the, not original, I think it was about 70 years or something, that this track where we're coming onto now, this road, was relaid with all this stone, but it is the original stone from the original road which was put in place.
So what year was this stone road would you put in? Would you say?
Well, it was about 1547, round about that, the disillusionment.
So this road here is 15...
About 15, no, not the actual surface, but the actual road.
Yeah, right.
About 1547, round about that, the disillusionment at monasteries. And Henry VIII decided that he wanted another wife, but the church said he couldn't have one, so he created his own church. That's
like
nice,
you do.
Like you do.
I
was thinking about it last Friday whether I should create my own church or not. But
it's like anything else. If you want to be your own boss, what do?
Create your own church, mate.
You create your own business, or you create your own church. If you want to be the champion, say of a boxing or whatever, wrestling, and another company's not making you the champion, you set up your own company and you become the champion.
That's right.
It's as simple as that.
And in order to be able to get rid of the old religion, basically, he just knocked all the monasteries down.
Like you do, you just abolish religion.
Yeah, a mass takeover. So yes, that's what this was like. Now as we're coming down here, we're coming to Witch's Wood.
Witch's Wood now, guys. Witch's Wood.
And it's called the Witch's Wood for a couple of reasons. First of all, apparently witches were in here at some point or other. But it's also the edge of the top of the rock face, which is called Witch's Drop, which we're going to see later, and that will become apparent as we walk past.
Yeah.
There's also the urban legend, and a few people have told me about this. You see, the urban legends are basically stories which are passed down through time, so they can sort of be switched around a little bit. But as a general consensus, quite a few of them are quite accurate. Now, people in the local area said that, if you want to show them this wood, matey, in this wood here, if you walk through one day with your dog, taking your dog for a walk, and then a week later you come back through, the routes changed, and what they're saying is that the paths are changing directions as you walk through. So it's a bit of a weird, spooky, magical wood is this, Witch's Wood.
Witch's Wood. Urban legend. It's just like anything else. Stories change as it passes on through time. People
butterfly wings, mate.
Yeah, people add little bits to the story when they pass it on and so forth, and then eventually what you get is... What's that? There, like a big box.
That's where we're going. That's the top of the second gatehouse.
Right. I've never seen that before.
Oh no, that's not. No, that is an electrical box.
Oh right,
which supplies electricity.
To the house, yeah, down there.
Oh, it's gone really dark on my camera. I'm going to put my little torch on.
I think I'm going to add a little bit of light, to be honest.
Getting nice and spooky now, mate. It's lovely to be back on here, by the way.
It's all good. It's all good, guys. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Jill, Robin, Samantha, Linda Robinson, how we doing? Brilliant. I hope you're going to enjoy this, guys. Share away. Let us know what we're here. We're going to enter the Witch's Woods. It's all going to be good. There's been sightings of black monks here, headless horsemen. You know, it's full of stuff. But we are going to be investigating. We'll get the spirit box out. We'll get the EMF meters. Do a little EVP session. See what we can get. She is old, years, hundreds and hundreds of years old, this place. There's got to be something here, some residual.
It was about 1070 odd, I think it were, when they first came. And the story is, we might cover it later on, but the story goes that a couple of monks were passing through here and they found a tree which was in the shape of a cross. And they went back to the main people from the church the Cistercian order, and they said that they found a place which should be, well, they should have some form of what call it, abbey or something there, because they found it had a sign from God. So it took a while for it to get sorted. So by about 10:50 odds, they sent some people. I've got some paperwork in my pocket because I'm dreadful with names. And they came over here and they started building sheds. So they were living in sheds for quite a while. And we'll talk about the ghost of the Headless Horseman, and I'll bring you a little bit of a story. You see, a lot of these stories interact with each other, so I've got to be careful how I put them in place so that it works as we go around. So what happened were, they decided which side of the stream or the river the monastery were going to go on, which we'll talk about later. And then they built all these sheds, then they built the infrastructure behind the entire place.
Did they toss a coin or something? And they were like...
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, you've remembered that and all, well done. So they put all the crops in, they got all the animals here, they built all the sheds and the small buildings, and they built an infrastructure of finance in order to be able to fund the monastery. Obviously they got some funding from the main church. We're just coming down to where the first gatehouse is now, or was.
Just the people of confusion where we are, we're actually at an abbey. Okay, the ruins of the abbey. This is where we are. Ian's just telling a story. Well, not stories, facts. You know, facts. What has actually happened here? So where we are now would have been the first gatehouse. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right. We're in.
When the abbey was initially built, there wouldn't have been a gatehouse here.
Yeah.
Right, this was in about 1300s. This part was built, and the second gatehouse. So it would have been the main abbey right down there. So the main abbey would have been put in place, but that was done later, all right, about 1145, I think it was. 1145, the abbey was built and it was blessed, all right. And time went by, and then eventually, through the time scale of things, in about 13 something, it's all a bit vague. 13 something, these two gatehouses were put in place. All right, now this is where the first gatehouse would have been, but obviously as it's closest to this road which we've just walked down, obviously it was the first thing to disappear. So the locals came down and they took all the stone and the roof and everything from this gatehouse, the first one, which is now a car park. So a lot of people sort of miss it out. And then they moved on to the next one where they took the top off the next gatehouse, and then they moved on to the abbey itself and started taking all that, the disillusionment with King Henry VIII and all that business. So yes, this area here where we are now is where people would have been coming up, knocking on the door to go into the gatehouse and asking for help, for food, for anything they can, for medication, for help from doctors and things in the abbey, which would have been turned away or would have been allowed in. Now we'll talk about the porter as we get down to the second gatehouse.
So the second gatehouse we're going to show you. You imagine that here. Okay, this is where it would have been. So this would have been the first thing what anybody would have saw, basically, if they wanted to come in or wanted any information or, you know, whatever they would have wanted. This would have been the gatehouse, but it's no longer here.
So it's all gone, all taken away. I'm quite sure there's some of the gatehouse in the floor where it's all been broken down for rubble and aggregate. So we passed down. So this is where the gatehouse would have gone through to the next path between the gatehouses. So the porter would have had to travel to this gatehouse to work out if we're going to let people in.
Yeah.
From that one down there up to here, no matter what the weather was like, winter or summer, no matter what it were, as well as doing all these other jobs. He had a horrible job, and yet he had to be highly educated as well, because there were lots and lots of work like that he had to do. When he had to work in offices, he had to work on the land, all kinds of things, and he had to write and all. They had to do all the writing for the monastery. So on the left-hand side is a wall, and as we go down, you'll find these like hovels in the side of the wall, and people for some time used to live in there as well. And if we've got time, mate, we're going to have a nosy, shall we?
Yeah, have a little look. We've got plenty of time.
Yeah, inside the an area into the wall where people used to live for quite a while.
So we've gone through the first gatehouse. We're in. The porter's let us in. We're going through, and we're approaching the second gatehouse, and this is still here. Well, what is left of it it's still here, but
see over there, that is the wall. Now the wall starts to become an overhang. Look, it starts to overhang over this area.
So these are like the hovels, and this is where people would have stayed. We'll take you in. We'll show you.
Go in, mate.
Let's go in, and you can see still evidence that where people would have lived, you know.
Right, can you see how this has been chavelled out?
Yeah. I'll just turn my light on.
On purpose, so that when water came down the wall, it dripped off the roof onto here, and then they would have had a wall up there, and then they would have lived in there, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, go steady, matey.
We're here.
There you go, and you can see these supporting walls between. Can you see them?
Yeah.
You've got this wall in the front here, right in front of us, and then you get inside there, and then you've got all these other walls. And it goes all the way up there. So
I can see a wall there, can't you, with concrete in and that.
That's right.
So if you guys can see over there, people would have been in here. Would have collected water from here. You know, from the dew and rain and things.
So let's head off back down.
So that's the hovels, guys. And with people would have lived there, and they would have...
I'm not sure what point in time it was they were doing that. I don't think it was while the monastery was in use.
Yes, later on.
Later on, possibly. And then we've got the second gatehouse. There's going to be quite a lot of information thrown around here. Right, obviously the gatehouse itself would have had a big door on the front.
Big wooden door.
And on the right hand side of it would have been fenced off to stop people getting through.
Here we are.
Now, as we look at it from here, Phil,
yeah.
As you go up there, you'll see it looks like it ends, but it didn't used to. They used to continue up. They took the top of the gatehouse off, straight up the hill, because that's where we came from, okay, to orientate things. All right, so they took all that off. Now, that's where the officers would be, and the important people of the Abbey would have done all their office work and talked to people concerning things like selling grain, selling horses and all that kind of stuff. All that business stuff for the church would have been done upstairs. And as you go through here, you'll see a doorway which has been caged off, which would have led from here to upstairs. Now, this would have had a great big wooden door on it. These wouldn't have been here, all right? Wasn't at much point. And as we go inside, each one of these would have been cordoned off as well. This is where all the cattle in winter would have been brought in, and also important people's horses would have been stored.
Horses in here, guys, all right? So what we want you to do is we want you to imagine... I'll turn that down because that is absolutely breathtakingly bright. So, yeah, so we're in a gatehouse. You imagine horses...
There'd have been straw on the floor. This is
straw.
The floor, but where you are now is where the porter lived, and that would have been the porter's door. And this would have been all cordoned off just here, and the porter would have lived in there, and they would have kept warm from the heat from the horses, etc. But they weren't meant, because we're Cistercian monks, they weren't meant to have nice things. They couldn't have normal heating, they couldn't have really nice clothes and all that kind of stuff. They had to have really minimal belongings, just things enough to be able to stay alive. So it wasn't a very nice life, really.
Well, you can imagine, I mean, it's damp and horrible now.
It is.
So you imagine what it would have been like then.
So this area here, is where the porter would have lived, and they would go in and out of there, and they would have walked back up that path to let people in and out.
Maybe the porter is still here. You know, maybe he might be still here. Maybe he's still doing his thing. You don't know. So monks. All original, still here.
And here we have the staircase which goes upstairs. So this staircase here would go upstairs onto the top of the building where the important people were. And you can see, I'm not sure if that's where sort of religious artifacts would have been put in there, or candles.
Can you see the little window?
You can see the stairs.
Stairs.
See the stairs going up there. Then up it goes. Don't lose your camera, mate.
Yeah, we'll not get that back.
No. So again, we've got this big archway which you've had a door in it, and another archway which you've had a door in it.
Thanks for watching, guys. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a little bit different tonight, guys. But we are. It's going to be good. But we'll do a little bit of investigating. We want to listen to the stories. The porter in here, the horses. You imagine the door. You know, big door. You imagine somebody pounding on this door to come in, and you've opened it. Come through. Hello, how the devil are you? This is the gatehouse of the Abbey. The Abbey would have been absolutely, massive when it was still here. Animals, it would have been rife of people. Literally. It's absolutely fantastic. There's more to come, guys. We're going to show you, we're going to come to the Victorian house, which has been put up. There's some paranormal hauntings in there, which Iain will explain to you about. Then we're going to walk to the we'll go to the Abbey itself, then we'll go to the waterfall, and then we'll go into the woods as well. So it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Haunted years and years and years of activity here. So we've come out the gatehouse.
Sancta Maria di Rupe. That's the name that the monastery was given by the monks, and it basically describes the rock.
So say that again. What was the name?
Let me read it out again. Sancta Maria di Rupe, and
Right.
it basically describes the rocks and cliffs which are on three sides. They're here, they're over there, and they're also over there. So we've got three sides of rock faces in this valley, and that's where the name came from. So here is quite an important part.
Have we gone past the part where they're throwing the witches off?
No, that's further down.
That's further down, right.
Right, let's just talk about this beautiful place just here. Now, this is an old house. I don't remember what year it was built in, but it wasn't built from the stone from the monastery, ironically. I'm not sure where the stone came from, but it wasn't from the monastery. But it was Capability Brown came and designed the entire location in regards to this one building. And the idea was, if we just walk down here a little bit, that the front windows, the bay window, looks out onto this area.
So this would have been built in the 1800s.
And what he wanted was an aspect which was beautiful from these windows. So he basically covered this entire area, the entire monastery and everything. He covered it all in dirt. Now you think about the job that it must have taken to cover that entire area in dirt and just covered the entire thing.
Is there a story about?
Yes, we're going to come to that. Yeah, oh, don't worry.
Right, I'm getting excited and I'm rushing ahead.
So that's what they did. They covered the entire thing just for that one window and this one building, which is absolutely bizarre. And that was in, let me just get all this, I want to get this information for people. I've got to get back, got to go back. Disillusionment. Oh, here we are, 1770s, Capability Brown covered the entire area and landscaped it.
So, the Abbey, which we're going to go to in this year, they literally buried the lot. They buried the entire Abbey. Just with mud and flat, just a big hill of things, and then years later they've took that 1970s, they've took all that mud out and they've got the ruins back out. Right. And brilliant, guys. I've noticed people have got the top fan badges, which is absolutely brilliant. It's good. I like it.
This window here, the people learned about the apparent ghosts of Roche Abbey. So what they did were they used to put a monk in that window, and people used to report seeing a monk in the window. It was actually a model, but a mannequin that they put in that window. It was really funny. Right, let's do the story about the house. Now there used to be a servant girl who used to work here at this house.
Right.
All right. And she got pregnant out of wedlock. In other words, she wasn't married. And she managed to get herself pregnant, obviously. We all know
what time period was this?
Victorian times.
Victorian
I believe,
times, right.
I believe. And at that time, it was incredibly bad to be pregnant out of wedlock.
Definitely.
So what she did, she came down to this building, she went into the house, she killed her baby, and then she went into the attic and she hung herself. And on occasion, you can hear, or it is said that you can hear a baby crying inside the house, crying for its mother, who is dead, hanging from the attic window. Now, I came down here with a group, and this is a true story. I came down here with a group quite a long time ago, and we could hear I could, and somebody else could hear what sounded like a baby crying, but we don't know if it was a baby crying or if it was a cat. But to me, it sounded very, very much like a baby crying, and I was standing over here when I heard it, and it got louder as I walked towards the house. So it was really, really bizarre.
So
and I don't lie about them.
I'm just going to turn this down because that's like making me look like David Dickinson.
You can't see it. There's a lovely little window up there.
Yeah, up there. Yeah. So, so there's been reports of a child crying in there, and the story is that like a lady, a servant, got pregnant out of wedlock and basically killed the baby in there, and there's been reportings of a baby crying. So, if that's not freaked you out already...
It freaked me out when I heard it. Mate.
Well, imagine then what's living in there.
Yeah, we'll come on to the other story about the monks and the ladies who got pregnant to the monks and all in a bit, and that's all about that sort of thing as well.
So the monk, what they seen in that window, that was a prop.
Yeah. Well, people kept saying, I think the story is that people kept saying that they could see a monk in the window, so just to wind people up, they put a mannequin in.
Right, I've got you.
You get me?
Got you. So and then people are literally saying, "Oh my God, there's a monk in there."
Now there's a story also about a monk which comes fluttering across the people, across the abbey. 3 men saw it on the way back from the pub, I think it was, and they saw it and it scared them to death, and they ran off and they set off this urban legend about this ghost. That's where the Roche Abbey monk, I call him Roby, came into it. But in fact, it was over there. It was on the other side of the monastery, over there in those fields. Now, we'll hit on now to that story. What happened was that there was 2 landowners who one owned this side of the stream and one owned the other. And basically they had to work out who was going to have the pleasure of having the monastery on their side of the river. Now, it would have been seen as a wonderful thing to have a monastery like Cistercian monks on your land. So what they did basically, as you said before, I was surprised you remembered that, they flipped a coin. And the one who lost basically was so depressed that when he died, it became a headless horseman up in the woods over there. So when you're walking
we'll be going into there shortly.
Yeah, people in years have gone by, said they've seen a headless horseman riding through the woods and up the path.
So this is the guy which is basically lost the side of the coin, he's lost the toss, he's got really depressed because the other guy's got the privilege of having the abbey built on his side, and the guy...
Just after he died, he became an headless horseman.
And that vengeance, that bitterness is kept him here, and the people have seen him in the form of a headless horseman.
Well,
it's... You know, we're not saying that this is true and this is fact. We're just going on urban legend, and we're going on people's, thoughts and what they think they've seen, etc. But we will continue and go. So
once we've got past the Witch's Rock, remind me to tell you about the ghosts that came out of the wood.
Right.
So that's another wonderful story. People can research this. A lot of research I do is by local people and elderly people who've had those stories portrayed down to them, because you can't find all this online. You can look all day, and it's the same with all these locations. Most of the stuff is word of mouth, and that's why a video like this or a live stream like this is so important, to get these urban legend and folklore, which are just stories, passed down, so that, because otherwise they just get lost in time.
So yeah, you've got to keep the torch, pass the torch, let people know these stories. I mean, the stories might keep continuing to change. It might keep.
Well, we'll want it. Butterfly wings. So over time, people will portray that story in a different way.
It's like when something's happened to you when you were younger, and you explain it, but you over-exaggerate it a little bit, so it sounds,
never do that.
Yeah, but I've done it. Something's happened to you, a great event's happened to you, and you're telling a story later on in life. You might bend the truth a little bit.
Right. Does everybody remember, or you won't remember it too long ago? I'm surprised if.
I remember it clearly.
Yeah. The witch trials, with the witch finder general and all that business. Now, this is one of the places where witches, people probably know the story, where they used to put them on ducking stools and they used to throw them off rock faces. Now, this is apparently one of the rock faces which was used to throw witches off, or apparent witches. Now, if they... Do you want to come down here, mate, so you get a better view?
So this is where witches is allegedly thrown
from. This is Witch's Drop.
Witch's Drop, okay.
So they would throw them from up there to land just here. If they survived, obviously they were saved by the devil. But if they didn't survive, they was then sent off to heaven, okay, and given a good burial. Now, if they did survive, obviously they'd be all mangled and tangled, wouldn't they?
You'd have a few broken bones, I would have thought.
You would. you were taken over to the stream over there and then drowned or put on a ducking stool. So
Weren't it a lovely time?
Where they would duck them underwater until they were drowned. And if they didn't drown, obviously it's another trial.
What a time to be alive.
Exactly. So that is Witch's Drop. And I've camped up there, and on my channel there's a video showing me camping up there, and on top there's a very large rock, and I camped next to it on purpose because apparently it said that it used to be a place where they used to do, like demonic worship and other worship, and they were doing sacrifices. There's a rock up there where apparently they did that. Right. So I slept next to the rock. The video's on my channel if anyone wants to go and have a look. So you'll be able to see.
So what's your channel? It's called Hauntastic Events.
Hauntastic Events, it's called.
Hauntastic Events. All this what Ian's talking about is on there, so you can watch them, and subscribe to that channel. Is basically just putting all this backlog of what captures on there for you guys, and you just see what you think.
Past investigations. I work with some great people.
Basically, it's putting the archives up on the channel. So it's all going to be good.
Okay, so we've done that. So now we'll quickly talk about the ghosts in the wood. Now this is a wonderful story of Roche Abbey. Apparently, back in Victorian times, it was amazing. Sometimes a paranormal subject it suddenly becomes popular, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So what happened was it suddenly became amazingly popular during Victorian times. So what they did was. Oh no, it wouldn't have been Victorian times, it would have been way back. The story started way back and then it emanated itself back in Victorian times. Now way back it was being apparently really cool to have seen a ghost. Well,
it still is now, isn't it?
It is. This is one of them times when apparently it's really cool to look into ghosts and to look into the subject. So loads of stories of a massive group of important people, and we're talking about big figures in society, who were down here in the Abbey for whatever reason. We don't know why they were all here at once. It just might have been like a natural occurrence. Everybody just happened to turn up. And they were looking up into the woods, and suddenly hundreds of ghosts started marching out the woods and coming across. All these things with one arm missing and things. A bit like a zombie movie or something like that. And all these ghosts coming out. Now, when we researched it, when you go back in time, what it turned out was that one monk saw one ghost. A monk saw a ghost. So over time, we talk about butterfly wings and how stories can be changed. It just enveloped itself. So what happened was all these special people suddenly decided, all these important people decided that they want to say that they were there, don't they? Oh yeah, I remember that, I was there. And that's what happened. And it ended up that like hundreds of people saw hundreds of ghosts because they were all portraying a different ghost. Because they couldn't portray the real one because they weren't really there. Do you get what I'm saying?
It's like we all want to know what happens when we die, and we all like to believe that there's something there, and maybe our soul, our presence is still here after we've gone. And I do believe that people believe that so much that they invent stories, and that's just my theory. It might be.
I think a lot of it is to do that they wanted to be popular, and at that time more popular to see a ghost, and everybody else was saying they'd seen it, so they just said they saw it.
Yeah, it's to be to be popular with the other people. You've got a good story to tell.
It's an exaggerated version of somebody saying they saw a ghost at a train station.
Yeah.
And suddenly everybody's seen a ghost at a train station. That kind of thing.
Well, I always say this: if you're entering a building and nobody's told you anything about this building before, you don't know what you're doing, and you've come in and you feel fine, don't feel. But if people's telling you that, oh yeah, there's headless horseman, there's a ghost in there, and it's you're going to feel a bit edgy about it. You're going to be a bit whoa. But we're going to give you a nice little.
Right, okay. Up here, on my camera, because it can't zoom in very well. There's like a doorway. And it looks as if it goes nowhere. That's because the rest of the monastery's sort of missing.
Yeah.
So, but people have said that they've seen a lady walk from left to right across there, holding a baby. But it don't make no sense to me because there's no sort of ginnel on the left-hand side. It sort of goes from front to back.
So you imagine a floor. You can still see where the floors would have been, wouldn't you? There. So you've got to use your imagination, guys. Here, you've got to imagine this.
95% of it's missing. Isn't
it? Basically, it's like literally 5% of it left.
Yeah.
Of what it would have been. It would have been huge. It would have been literally, but all the stones been taken away, and this is what we've got left, and this is what we're dealing with.
And that's what it's supposed to be, a ghost scene. And again, loads of people said they'd seen it, you know. So many stories. I mean, I could go on here forever.
Let's do a bit of shout out. So let's let people know we're here. Julia, you've got some a nice comment here from Julia. It's bloody great to see you again, Iain. Just amazing.
Thank you very much.
I'm so pleased he's back with you, Phil. Bloody brilliant. That is quite refreshing to hear because it's you don't get the odd negativity, but it's nice to be positive. We have to be positive in this life, guys. We don't listen to negativity at all. Right, we'll resume.
Okay, so down here, some people have said that there is a graveyard at Roche Abbey, and some people say that there isn't. And we'll talk about the graveyard as we go around here. Now, I've once brought a big group of people round this corner, and there were about 100 cows, which were really funny because we were like literally climbing over cows.
Alright.
Oh, very good, right. Up on the left-hand side is a Neolithic, like a shelf. It's not a cave because it's not enclosed, but it's a shelf, it's a cliff. And that they've seen signs of people from Neanderthal times with the bones and the signs of the fires and all that kind of stuff. So that could possibly have some activity, but it's so far back. The energy from the spirit energy has probably dissipated away, so we won't experience that so much. But on this side, this is where the graveyard was.
So, graveyard of
Graveyard
the...
just here, down the back. Not necessarily just here, but further back.
Further back,
Now, the story behind the graveyard in these places is that what happened when people died locally, they used to pay the monks to sing for them until they passed to the other side. It was a way of ensuring your trip into heaven. So depending on the amount of money which you paid, but depending on how many days and nights that they sang for you. Not great really, because at the disillusionment of the monastery, the people who'd paid for somebody to obviously sing for them, they weren't here anymore. So I don't know if they got lost along the way, who's to say, but that's another story. It's a true story, that's what they actually used to do.
Brilliant. I mean, it really took comfort in knowing that, you know, somebody would have, you know, a holy figure. This is why we know, this is why we, you know, this is why there's ghost stories and things like that. We all want to know that when we die, we're going to a better place.
It's true about ghost stories, because the ghost stories are an amazing way and a very descriptive way of passing on the history from person to person and from generation to generation. And I think they captivate people's imagination, so it's a way of keep bringing the history alive. And just the fact that there's ghosts incorporated, it makes that more special, as if those people that were there at the time, some way managed to emanate themselves into this time, whether that's an actual manifestation in real time, or whether it's a warp, which it would be just a reflection or a reanimation within a space at a certain time. As we go down here, we're going to have a look at the classic one. There's just stone grave on the floor.
Okay, this is the graveyard. We're walking down and we're going to a stone. It's not actually the gravestone, is it?
I'll explain. No, there's a large lump of stone that's been hollowed out to make it look like a coffin.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, the urban legend again, and folklore said that it was a grave. It's down there, you can't see it very well on my camera, but it was a grave which was made for someone which would never ended up being used. But it wasn't. It was basically a large water container where the monks and such like would wash their hands before they walked out onto the cloister. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do understand the run of this building, but I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because I'll bore people stupid. But basically, this area here would have been an area with little poles in the middle. It would have been a place where they would have read books. Further down here, we've got an area where people would have slept. Further over there, we've got the kitchens and cooking places, and it's all surrounded. The toilets and the cooking places were surrounding the water flow, which was put in place in order to take away all the effluent, all the old food, all that kind of stuff just washed down through. And it was the monks who built the dam at the top, which we're going to see in a bit, in order to be able to hold water, a nice water supply, and then redirect the water through the monastery to use it for ablutions.
Yeah, so what we're doing now, we're heading to a stream now. So, and this is where they would have like put the waste to stream it away. Brilliant stuff again, waterfalls again, kinetic energy. You know, theorists say that ghosts can use this energy. You know, we've got you know, electricity pylons, pumping electricity out, our ghosts using that, our energy ourselves, you know, us being here, can we influence these ghosts to appear, talk to us, etc. So it's all good, guys. Brilliant. Thanks for all coming on, guys. It's all good stuff. Please leave a like on this video. Please like the page, Phil Sinclair, and YouTube. You will be getting this afterwards. So thank you so much for joining me this evening, and Ian as well.
These here on these walls, and there's one up at the waterfall. These aren't necessarily because somebody died at that particular place, so don't think that. These are when people have loved the place so much that when they die, people have left this here as a memorial to the fact that they loved them.
Yeah, so a person would have loved coming to this so much that they would have, like, literally remembered him. Like, this is how people remembered the mother, basically, enjoying this place so much.
I have to tell people that apparently, again, it's a legend, but apparently there is, you can look this up online, there's apparently treasure here. When the disillusionment, when they came to clear the place out, the monks hid because they couldn't take them with them because the crosses and all the jewels and gold were too heavy. So they basically just rushed out into the woodland in the local area to put all the treasures and everything and hid them. They've never been found, but people have done treasure hunts here to try and find the elusive treasure of Roche Abbey.
So, get your metal detectors out, guys.
I already have.
You have?
I have.
Get your metal detectors and let's get searching for this Roche Abbey treasure. We can get his feet wet, can't we, and get in there?
We're going into the woods now.
So, the woods.
Last time we were down here, Phil, maybe you close your eyes.
Yeah. So this is the most interesting part now. This is the woods. Okay, this is where people heard babies crying and things like that.
Let me tell them. Many years ago, men had requirements. They were lusting, but they've given themselves to God, so they couldn't be with ladies. But some of them were quite naughty and sneaked away into the local villages, and they take women onto themselves. Let's put it that way. But some of the ladies became pregnant. I was surprised to find this. When they became pregnant, they had nowhere to go, obviously. Mm-hmm. So they came down to the monastery to tell the monk that they were pregnant to them. So when the monastery found out, and it is a little bit sacrilegious to say this, but it is true, what they used to do was cut the nipples off the mother. It's horrible, this, I don't like telling the story, but they cut the nipples off the mother so the mother couldn't feed the baby, and then when the baby died, they took the baby out into the woods and buried it. So wow. People have heard babies crying up here in the woods. So when I was up there at the house, I walked to the house to listen because I didn't know if it was a bit of the sound from the woods or a sound from the house, because we've got. So have
you heard with your own ears?
Yes,
sound of a baby crying?
I heard the sound of a baby crying, and people might say no, it's the sound of a cat. It was the sound of a baby crying, and I don't know if
you listen carefully, you can differentiate the difference of a cat and a baby. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, cats sound like babies crying," but do they really?
It was the way that it was sort of echoing in and out. You know, you can tell. You know, you get a really spooky noise. It was like that. It was if it was here but not quite here. It really odd, really bizarre. So the monastery used to come over there, and these areas over here is when they used to have all their arable crops. So kind of a big country garden where they used to grow all their like beets and stuff like that better then. These days we've got a lot of plants and vegetables which come from abroad. Back then it was very, very basic food.
What you grew is what you got.
Yeah, it is. What were in your garden is what you ate, really. So I'm glad they put this pathway in because it used to be horrendous.
English heritage.
Yeah,
doing something well here.
Yeah, the land around here is owned by Lord Scarborough.
Yeah.
And he allows English Heritage to run the abbey itself. So the path that runs around the outside is accessible, but you're not supposed to go inside the abbey itself.
Yeah.
It's run by.
Yeah, the outside the abbey is public, isn't it? You know.
Right up on top of the hills, through there, you see where the sky is. Just on the left-hand side of that is a hill, and I've camped on there as well. So I come down here, I have a camp on my own, or maybe with one person, and then in the middle of the night, I'll just sleep in a bivvy bag, and then I'll come around and walk around the abbey with no cameras or equipment or anything, and just try to take on board the ambience of personal experiences.
So the first time I met Iain, I was here doing an investigation, and we was in the dark, and Iain bursts out of the darkness with no torch. This were about 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock. Ian's just walking about round here and no torches, no nothing. I'm thinking, what the hell is actually going on here? And he's doing his thing, you know, he's listening with his ears.
I always believe that if you're going to experience it, you'll experience it at a personal level. And that is to say, and I always describe it like saying, if you walk into a pub and you've got to talk to somebody, and there's a group of people on the right or a single person on the left, and you're a shy person, would you speak to the group or speak to the person? And to me, being on my own gives these energies the possibility of coming over and interacting with me on a one-to-one level. So if it's more people, there's less chance that they'll come forward and interact with you.
Yeah,
so I walk around places like this, moorlands, I go into woodlands and all sorts of stuff on my own, just hopefully that I might see something. Wunwell Woods is a place I camp on my own a lot, and I'll walk through there.
The notorious Wunwell Woods.
Yeah, I love it in there.
It's pretty crazy in there. I mean, when you hear the stories of what people's done in there, and you know, the suicides, there was one guy were like mutilating himself.
Yeah, he killed his wife.
I read, you can find this on internet, it's like on the paper. The guy went to the Wunwell Woods and he was just basically like drilling his legs and things like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty...
he had a drill saw, and he just cut all his major arteries inside the back of the van and just died. That's next to Bond. Really sad.
I mean, it's terrible, it's absolutely awful, but that's a painful way of torturing yourself.
I've never picked up anything negative around that area in Street as well.
No.
Like, somebody else for people to hear now, so we're coming up to the...
It's going to get a little bit loud here, guys, because we're coming to a waterfall. Right. A waterfall.
Okay, so this area here was put in place by the monks in order to be able to supply water to the monastery in a controlled manner. Lots of bats around. So there we go, that's the waterfall, and it's redirected down there. Now there's a story of a woman who fell off here, and apparently there's a white lady which is seen around this waterfall.
So, there's been sightings of a white lady here. It's Linda. Phil, can you camp out? They wanted to know will you camp out and do a video? Basically.
Yeah, if you want me to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. I've already done it. It's already on the YouTube channel, but I'll do it again for you if you want to. You have to come with me, Phil.
Well, will I last the night?
That makes a great video about that.
That story gives me chills about when you're in Wunwell Woods and you're hearing a kid walking around your tent.
Tell it, quick.
Yeah, tell it.
I was sleeping in a hammock in Wunwell Woods, and I was testing out a military jacket, so I didn't have a sleeping bag or anything. I was just sleeping in a hammock. This is for people on my video, I know. Can't do this, by the way. And in the middle of the night, what happens is the trees relax, so they started coming together, so my hammock started lowering. So I get out at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I walked over to the branch so I could tighten up my hammock. And about 15-20 feet away from me, I heard a small child singing a nursery rhyme.
Wow.
And I was rigid. It terrified me. One of the scariest things I've experienced.
If I heard that, I'd have been gone.
Well, I couldn't, because all my camping gear was here.
Well, I'd have got it next day.
Well, it never ended there, because I went and got back in the hammock, and I thought, well, I've got to stop night, so I'll put my head down below the edges of the hammock and cool myself up. And then I was looking around for a rucksack to get the other little jungle sleeping bag out, and as I looked over the edge, there was a shadow on the side of me, a black shadow about the size of a child. And I was done. I was turned over, went to sleep. That's really done.
So yeah, he's got a lot of these things on his channel as well. A lot of they're really trimmed down, they're like 2 minutes long, but he gets straight to the point of his EVPs and things like that. Hauntastic Events on YouTube. Right, we'll get away from this waterfall because it's loud and I'm bellowing at the top of my voice. Oh God, where are we going there?
Right, this is the area. This is the area at the top of the waterfall where the lady fell from. But at the other side, there's known to be a dark energy, and we've set gear up there. Me and a chap from a pub. I used to be a singer. The landlord asked me to bring him, and we set equipment up all the way down the path, candles and all sorts, and dictaphones. And as we walked away, I noticed that the tri-field meter just dropped off. It had been spiky, it just dropped off. So I came back to find out what was going off. And all the equipment, all the dictaphones, video cameras and everything had turned off, and the candles had all been blown out. That was really weird. And that was over there, but you get a real dark sense. But that's where the Headless Horseman's supposed to be as well.
Headless Horseman?
On the side of that stream.
Now, if we see that...
Yeah, that will make for good viewing.
So, like something from Sleepy Hollow.
No, we'll see it and they won't see it, they'll not believe us.
Yeah, can you imagine just getting it on camera?
Now this is one of the original routes into Roche Abbey.
Okay, original route into Roche Abbey.
There's a top path to this as well. And it goes out further into the woods and back out to the village.
Right, so...
And just down on the right hand side was like a little harbour that was made for a rowing boat, so the monks could go getting fish.
Yeah, you can kind of see, can't you, like...
Oh no, this is one, but there's another one further over there.
Is it?
It's really creepy, yeah. This is where I like to come at night.
So Iain, basically, he will come and he will literally stay the night, but he'll literally rough it, you know, the term, literally just like in a sleeping bag, or he literally will embrace it. He's listening with his own ears, his own feelings, you know, and you know, see if there's something around him. And what he does, he just sits, and if he sees if his equipment is going off, he'll sit and he sits talking, see if he can get any responses from. Now, if I was in a tent and I heard a little girl walking around when I'm in the middle of the woods,
I find that scarier.
You what?
I find it scarier in a tent. That's why I don't like using one.
Yeah.
You don't know what's outside tent.
Yeah, you don't know. When you're in a tent, you hear alt noises. You think, then your mind's thinking.
Your imagination's your worst enemy.
Your imagination, that you're thinking, oh my God, there's somebody creeping around, crawling about.
I'd rather just be looking out into the woods. I've seen some bizarre things where I've just been led there.
Yeah, it's
Well, you get to see all night animals as well. It's great.
Yeah, I bet you're at one with nature. Like you see animals in a natural habitat.
I've got my other YouTube channel, I know, where I do wild camping and bushcrafting.
Yeah, it's I don't know what the signal might be like down here, guys, because last time I was down here, it gets a bit sketchy down here, but we will persevere.
Well, this is where I used to bring ghost groups up on the tours. And we all used to do psychic work up here, because I think this is the most spiritually active location.
Would you love to come on like a ghost tour with Iain and let him talk to you?
I can do it.
You know, it's good stuff. You know, I think people would enjoy it. You know, coming on.
I always put spiritual protection on as well.
Yeah, spiritual protection. You'll be fine, and you're just going to experience it for yourself. He'll tell you around. He researched all these areas. He knows all the urban legends. He knows the stories. People are saying I need to camp out in here.
Yeah, definitely. I'll bring you.
But where would I put my comb and my hair gel? Where would that go with tent?
We'll not go too far into it. There's been times when I've come into this wood and I've just turned around and gone back out because it's just been so. And I'll go anywhere. But I mean, I sit in Romarsh graveyard and places on my own and not think out on it. But when I go all the way down here into this on this path, you just get a feeling that there's something just behind. Right.
So guys, if we're still on, just imagine that, how creepy that looks.
But I don't use a torch when I come out.
Yeah.
Now, so to me, I'm in pitch blackness. So I just sometimes get a really weird sixth sense that there's something not right about a place, and I just turn around and go away. It's almost as if they just don't want you there on that occasion. So you just say, okay, I respect your choice and I'll leave. But this place is definitely one of them places.
Yeah, you've got to be strong-minded to like come down here and not be
affected.
Well, you know, like you got no lights, and you're just here. I mean, you've got to close your mind off, I suppose.
Ooh, let me tell you, brought a gamekeeper, and he just got his new job here, and the gamekeeper told me this. I was up in the woods, so these are all true. And he was out and about doing his thing, and then he came to the top of the hill. because all the gamekeepers and all the people who are involved in the sort of, the land around here all tend to know each other. There's some places up here, butts and things, where they breed grouse and pheasant and things. And they all know each other. Now, the gamekeeper says to me, because he saw me wandering aimlessly at night, thought I was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Well,
so you would, wouldn't you?
I got talking to him, I got talking about ghosts and stuff, and he said, and he weren't winding me up, he was quite a sincere guy. And he said to me, he was walking up here once on the top path. If anybody comes, if you come with me on a ghost tour, I'll show you the top path. It's the original path that came into Roche Abbey. And he said, they were walking up there. He said, and he came across an old guy. And this guy says, I'm the old gamekeeper. I used to work here before you did. Sorry, it's just a branch. He says, before you did. And you had this full-on conversation with him. And they thought note of it. They were talking about dogs and rabbits and all this lot. And then he went home. And on his way home, he stopped in at a pub. And he says to some of his friends who he saw in pub, he says, I've just seen so-and-so. And he gave him a name, because they didn't know him. He'd just come into the area. And he says, I've just seen so-and-so up in Woods. Up in Kingswood, it's called, over the top there. He said, I've just seen him up in Kingswood. And they both sat there looking at him, like, yeah, whatever. And he said, why? And he says, the reason you've got your job is because he died last year.
Wow.
And that would really freak you out. It freaked me out. I was stood there, I got pins and needles all over me. I went really cold when he told me. I was standing in the place when he said that he saw the old man. Bonkers. He must have had some guts, though, to come back, because he didn't have a torch either. Go on then, we'll head back through.
Yeah, so we don't want to head too far into these woods, because the signal will go when we get into the dense.
I'll always advise people that if you're going to do an observation on your own, or just tour, always make sure you've got a torch, you've got spare batteries. Even a first aid kit might sound a bit bonkers, but you never know what can happen, because these roots on the floor,
yeah,
you could probably go for a burn and smack your head or cut yourself or whatever. And also stay safe. Make sure people know where you are, and you've got a certain time which you're supposed to be back.
I always get, when I do my videos and that, I always get a lot of people saying, Phil, you need to wear soft shoes. And it's like, have you seen the terrain where I'm walking around? It's not an area where I'm going to be walking around with my gym pumps on. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You've got to get your boots on, and you've got to, and I just think to myself, I just facepalm. I'm just thinking, yeah, when I get to the location, I'm really going to get my pumps out, and we're going to start walking through all this harsh terrain.
If I want to put some time scale to this place, remember that these trees are about 300 years old. These are old trees. These are not recent trees. And what's actually happened is if you come in daytime, it's awesome in daytime, isn't it? So if you come up here and walk into this wood, you'll see that there is a wall which is coming up, and the trees have grown straight through the wall. And so it shows you how old the wall is. So these are all original artifacts and things up in this wood. And people seem to forget how old these places are.
There's also that stone tape theory, is that what they call it?
Oh yes, yeah, stone tape theory.
Is that energy stored in like limestone?
Not just in limestone, but also it's stored in the space within a location. So when the environmental factors are identical to the time when something occurred, it reanimates itself and plays like a tape.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the...
If you put another time scale on this place, the Abbey was built at the same time, the exact same time as Conisbrough Castle.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Conisbrough Church, Conisbrough's a strange one, because Conisbrough Church is a Norman church, and the castle was put in place to protect the area around the church.
Yeah.
Where you'd normally get a church, and then a village would grow up around the castle.
Yeah, so they would have been built at the same time by aliens.
Yeah.
And don't tell me that the pyramids were built by people what hasn't invented the wheel yet. Okay, but that's another story. No, it's amazing how they can build these buildings with, the limited resources they had. It would have took years and years and...
Are you ready to come over these stepping stones?
Yeah, well, only time will tell what will happen here.
Yeah.
Never mind a white lady falling off it. Waterfall. They're going to be seeing a white bloke. Oh shit. Oh, fucking hell.
You really went.
That were a bit steeper than what I thought.
That up here is a tunnel that used to go underneath, which used to be the initial direction of the water. But as the water to rise, they filled the tunnel in, Again, that.
Yeah.
Again, they filled the tunnel in at the other end, and then the water came over the top rather than going through the tunnel.
Just move this across. Yeah, I've just nearly fell in a drink there, guys. So that were
funny though.
That's a little bit of an outtake.
Okay, so a face has been seen staring out of this lake. People have come to this, not at the moment though, because it's full of green algae. But at one time, apparently somebody saw the face of a woman staring out of the lake. I suppose you could call it Lady of the Lake or whatever. But
Lady of the Lake.
Maybe it's someone who's drowned in there at some time.
You never know what's gone off at the time. You know, never somebody might have threw somebody in there.
Yeah.
Or you don't know. You don't know these things.
All these lovely old elder bushes.
These would have been round there at the time. They wanted these trees. And...
Yeah. Well, there's some younger, some trees have a lesser lifespan. It's down to the density of the wood, I think. Look at these beauties. Look how big that tree is.
Yeah. Look at the size of that.
Beautiful. I'd love to climb that. I've never saw that. Really.
You'd make a few guitars out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Massive. Makes you wonder how they've not chopped it all. No, for the wood, for the fires and things.
They might have done to a certain degree, but I think they really understood nature.
Yeah.
And in order for certain habitats to be able to grow and to thrive, you know, for example, rabbits and foxes, they have to keep that around here. So other areas,
well, if you get rid of the trees, you've got no food, have you,
right.
basically?
And I think a lot of these trees are not very good for making like beams and stuff out of. So they would have had woodlands which were actually grown purposely in order to be able to cultivate them, cut them down and make buildings and stuff out of them, rather than taking what's here and removing your ability to have wild meat and such like.
Yeah. Oh,
look at all these wild edibles here. I mean, look at all this stuff, nettles and goosegrass. It's all edible. You can all eat it. At one time, we all used to eat this. It's all there all around us. But don't eat that though, because it's this stuff here can...
I don't know, Ian, you're making me hungry.
This stuff here, it's all linked to the carrot plants. And the carrot plants can be quite dangerous. That's mother dye.
So I can't have that for my tea tonight?
You can't have that. You can have some nettles, you just take the last few inches off top of nettles and boil them up. You can have
nice. I've heard it makes a nice drink.
Yeah, nettle tea.
Nettle tea?
Yeah.
Hey!
Don't get me started with wild edibles.
Cultured guys, I know what I'm doing.
Don't start me off with wild edibles. It'll end up being a cooking video.
Don't call me Bear Grylls for no.
You can't read the channel. So these woods on the left up here now is where, first of all, we're on the other side of monastery now. So this is where the hundreds of ghosts came out, which I'm hoping that don't happen right now. But also it's actually where the one ghost walked out and the one monk saw it. But also where the Headless Horseman is supposed to ride down this road, down this path, track, and then down through there and back up through the track in the woods. Now, is it the Headless Horseman that's making it really creepy up there? In any case, as the energy of that spirit dropped down, dissipated so far that all we're experiencing now is a feeling that something's there rather than the actual emanation of the spirit itself. Because energy, which we're made of, and energy of everything from the atomic world, it doesn't disappear, it dissipates. It goes to a slightly lesser level, and that's a big strong pointer for the ideology of spirit energy as existing after death. It's a beautiful big wood up in
Would
there.
you say, Ian, that you categorically believe that ghosts exist? Would you say it hand on heart, or would,
so if we go down that line, ghosts as an essence are a belief structure, as is science, as is religion. So to put all those things together, to categorise it as ghosts is like walking down a dodgy line, because then you start making rules and regulations in conjunction with that belief structure. I believe that there is a continuation of energy after death, and I believe that if the right atomic structure and background is in place, that energy can utilise those physical attributes in order to be able to exist within the atomic world, because they're not that far from it. They're still existent in it, because we talked about the energy only dissipating, not disappearing. So there's still an existent energy that's still there. It doesn't disappear. So yeah, I do believe something occurs. It all sounds a little bit complicated, but something occurs. But to categorise as a specific ghost, and for that ghost to do things in a particular way, is an awkward one, because people like to put things into boxes to make things simpler to get the brain around. This is the existence of life after death. Sadly, it's not something we can just categorise and put in a box.
No, definitely. No one can say if you could prove it, then science would confirm it, and science doesn't confirm it, does it? Really, did that? It is.
What we are doing, we're seeing signs of something. We are documenting things which shouldn't be there. EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, or AVP, audible voice phenomena, or strange ambient energies captured by. I mean, people say if they see a ghost, it's just a mist. Well, there's a chance that these spirit energies are utilising the building blocks in nature, creating mist in order to be able to manifest themselves. So they are using the building blocks of this atomic world, this world that we live in order to be able to show themselves to us, and that's what we're seeing. So we are seeing something, but we don't know what it is. All we can do is try to back manage everything, and try to, once we see something, try to work out what it is that caused the creation of that manifestation or interaction, so we can sort of go back through the process and work out where it came from. Because what we're experiencing is non-atomic. Energy isn't atomic. Physical things are atomic. It's atoms, all right, molecules. So what we need to look at is where energy comes from, what energy is. So we need to go subatomic. Sadly, we can't see subatomic because we are atomic. Does that make sense? We are made of physical matter. So for something made of physical matter to experience something non-physical, it's impossible. And that's why we have quantum science, quantum physics, dark matter, dark energy theory, string theory, advanced string theory, all these theories which are all put in place. And they're all generally mathematical theories, because maths is the nearest we can come to be able to make any sensibility of this world around us. God, it's complicated, man.
So we will be testing it on that later. So if you all want to take a pen and paper, we will be giving you a multiple choice test. You will, and then with 15 questions. So I hope you've all took that into consideration.
I like that. Maybe we should have warned them in advance.
You will be getting an exam.
I'm hoping people understand. I think it's important.
No, people are finding this really interesting because they're getting an explanation.
Yeah.
What a ghost is, what it could be, theoretically, and what is making up this being. What is,
I mean, people. I mean,
basically,
science.
It's like scientists, in like exploring space and things like that. They go mad because it never ends. It just.
Science is a belief structure. So we can't say that any of that, what I've just said, can make any sense, but it's the nearest we can get. And science is a common denominator. It's the middle understanding of the nearest we can get to making sensibility of the physical world around us. But it don't mean it's real. It don't mean it's true.
Yeah.
Because we're all just clutching at straws. So for me to turn around and say, well, it can't be this and it can be that because it's atomic or not atomic and all this business, I could be talking trite because I'm literally talking a different belief structure.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
All I'm trying to do is to understand. I know a lot of people don't like the scientific thing. There's two reasons. First of all, it's very complicated and it takes a lot of time to learn it. And the other side of it is that people don't like being told things. Mm-hmm. You've got your own experience. And I've always said, and I'll always say this, no matter how much I rattle on about that sciences and about this and that, try to make sensibility of things and all this and try to do the investigations, what you experience in your life is your experience. If you believe your experience or your entire life, then it's real. Because what you experience is real, because it's your experience.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you it's wrong. If you believe you've seen a ghost or an alien or whatever it is, and nobody's been able to totally discount it, then it's real, because it's your experience, it's real to you, and it's your belief. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. You don't need other people to tell you that this is this and that is that, and what you're believing is wrong or it's right. Or I mean, it's nice to have people on your side, but never ever let anybody tell you that what you experience is wrong, because they don't know themselves. If they don't know that, unless you can make an absolute definitive understanding of the emanation and point of your own existence, you can make no relation to anything else. And the only thing that we've got listed on our side is what we experience ourselves, because your own experience is real to you. All right, Phil?
That's all right. So again, 15 questions on the exam. You'll be asked what an atom is, dark matter. Yeah, but I hope you guys like finding out. I'm just going to turn this down because that's absolutely making me look ill. If you know, we're taking this up from a different approach, a different perspective, scientific. I mean, he's going on, but he's passionate. He's, you know, he really is into it, you know, and he gets to the point where he's, you know, because he's what I'm trying to say, he gets that passionate, it upsets him, you know, and he gets really sensitive with it, you know. It's just, you know, it's just what it is. But I'm very open-minded with paranormal. You know, I love listening to people's like stories, their experiences, you know. It's
I think for me, Phil, I think it's I'm massively open-minded. I like to learn a lot, but I'm open-minded, and when I see other people telling people that this is this and that is that, when they don't have the education or knowledge or understanding to back up what they're talking about, it absolutely fries my brain, and I get upset. I get really upset, and I've spit dummy out, and I fall out with people and all sorts, because unless you're true to yourself, there's nothing else you can be true to. You've got to be true to yourself, and all I want to do is help people. You know, I genuinely want to help people. And to do that, you've got to be true to yourself. Otherwise, it don't work. So
you guys were finding this interesting. You can find, and you wanted to learn more about what Iain does and all that. Hauntastic Events, YouTube. He's ploughing all like his own old archive. You know, all what he's found in his equipment. Watch it. The videos he's put on are just little snippets of videos that 2 minutes long, like of an EVP, and asking you a question, what do you think it is? EVPs of, you know, children talking, help me, you know, all that stuff. It's all good stuff. Watch it, support him, Iain, you know what I mean? He's very passionate about what he does, like I am. People always say to me that, Phil, you're really passionate about what you do. I mean, I've had it before, people's gone, Phil, I weren't a fan of you at first, but you've grown on me, you know, because we can see how passionate you are. It's a passion of mine, I love it. I love to hear people's stories. I love the idea of ghosts, and I just love it, you know. It's brilliant. It's all good stuff, and you know, I'm open-minded to everything. Psychic mediums, open-minded to, you know, anything paranormal, aliens, you know, anything. I tell you what, guys, people might think I'm stupid, but I honestly believe that there is a species of Bigfoot. I know you guys are absolutely laughing your head off now, but I honestly think that I don't think there's a big colony of Bigfoot, whatever you want to call them. But I do believe at one time, if you see that, you know, the very famous footage of that Bigfoot walking away in distance, scientists have analysed that, and movie prop people have said at the time, a suit like that could not have been created at the time. You can see the muscles of that Bigfoot working. You can see, when you really clean up the image and you really zoom in, it's got breasts. You know, breasts. It's a female Bigfoot. It's got breasts. And it's crazy. And I honestly believe, I don't know if they're still there. I know people keep saying, I mean, if you look at the map of all the sightings, it's sightings, and you dot all the reported sightings of a Bigfoot in Canada and North America. It's crazy. And are all these people lying? Are they all jumping on a bandwagon, saying? I mean, you watch on YouTube, there's tons and tons of Bigfoot.
They've got different names in different countries, haven't they?
Yeah, Sasquatch, Bigfoot. you know, there's a lot of compelling evidence out there. A lot of it is stupid. You know, you can tell it's a bloke running around in a suit. But some you look and you think, but that, and aliens as well, you know, that's a different subject. But what I'm saying is the whole field as a, I just love, I love it, and it's good, and I
love working with people who are passionate about subjects.
You know, and I love to hear people's stories, and I like to hear people's theories, why, you know, ghosts are a thing, and, you know, it's all, I don't know why I keep saying you know, but, you know, you know.
It's a catchphrase, mate.
Yeah. You know. And thank you, yeah, everyone's enjoying it. Thanks for jumping on, guys, and watching. It's all good stuff. It's a pleasure. I'm really thankful that everyone will watch. What people are watching on YouTube now. Think world of you guys. If you want to watch these live, please head over to Facebook. You know, everyone's got a Facebook profile now, so, you know, you head over, Phil Sinclair Paranormal, you give it a like. I hope you guys have been enjoying the little funny memes being putting on. Some of them have been great. Yeah, a lot of you guys have been sharing it out, and it's good. It's all good. We're all, the group as well, Phil Sinclair Paranormal group, that is growing. We're almost at 1,000 members in that now. So, head on that. And I've noticed a lot of people with the top fan badges, which is absolutely fantastic. The Bigfoot in the UK. I don't think so. Bigfoot in the UK. But I don't know. I mean, what can I say? You know, I don't think so. I might be out there now loving it.
There's a story with me and Lee Steer. We went to Wunwell Woods and me and Lee Steer did a ghost walk in Wunwell Woods, and it had been snowing, and on his way out we saw these footsteps coming down this road that runs into Wunwell Woods, and they were about 12 foot apart. It might have been somebody running with a really wide stride, but it was bizarre. And
like Lee, John Cleese, Monty Python, Ministry of Funny Walks.
Lee went out and he went on Facebook and put on, "We've found what called Sasquatch or whatever."
Yeah, we're at that time where it absolutely snowing.
Oh yeah,
we're knee deep of snow and these massive Bigfoot paws are in.
It went viral and everybody were attacking him, saying, "I can't believe that." And I'm like, "No, steady on. It's just a joke."
So what we need to be doing is going in Wunwell Woods and looking for Bigfoot.
But these big piles of wood that keep getting put up and nobody takes any responsibility for them.
No.
Big piles of wood against trees. I've walked through there one day.
No, I've heard that, like the Bigfoot, like they get branches and they make like a tent shape, don't they? Right. And the structures. I watch a lot of guys on YouTube and they say that.
Well, that's bad then, because that's what's in Wunwell Woods, and they keep just turning up. And there's so many sticks. It takes them so long to build them.
I don't know why they do it, but this guy we'll watch on YouTube. He's like, his life's passion looking for Bigfoot, and he goes around woods and that looking for Bigfoot, and every time he goes, there's always structures like a pyramid shape like that.
That's what keeps turning up in Wunwell Woods. There's loads of them.
And he got one of them like motion detectors. Hunters have them videos, and like he put one of them out. And he left it in there for a month, and he come back. And like he watched the entire footage, because when anything goes near it, it films, and then it goes away, it goes off, and something was rattling the thing, like that, and you can see like a big hairy thumb on the corner, like rattling, like it's a Bigfoot trying to pull the thing off the.
Oh my lord!
Mountain Beast Mysteries is called. And he's really passionate, and he goes in and he camps out and. He's in like Canada, and he goes really. And what he's doing at the minute is he's doing a crowdfunding, and he wants people to fund him because he's going to do a massive excavation in the woods, and he's going to stop in there for a month.
There's brown woods in America.
And he's just going to go get as far as he can into woods, and he's going to literally just have his gun, and just in case it tries ripping his head off. Yeah. And it'd be good, and he's going to document it. And
this bridge that we're going over now, I once came round with my YouTube channel, and I went underneath, and I was sat underneath the bridge. It's like a little tunnel, and I was sat in there. It's like two pools of water, and I'm pulling things out, and I pulled this thing out, and it looked like a finger or a bone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my lord. So I started panicking, thinking I found a skeleton underneath. It turned out to be like this, like few reeds in a great big tree or something underneath. I was like,
yeah.
what an idiot.
But what was it? Was it a finger?
No, it was just branches.
All right.
But they were like bizarre branches. I don't even know what they were off. But they looked like fingers with knuckles on.
I think
I thought I'd found a dead body. I thought I'll get some views on this.
Have you seen them though on YouTube when they're going that Japan suicide forest and they're filming them all hung and that in there?
I'd love to go there.
I'd love to go in there, but I think it's going a little bit far when you're going in and this guy's hung in a tree and you're filming it for YouTube, and you get millions and millions of views on it.
Wow.
And but like that suicide woods, forest in Japan.
I think we need to get you up here first.
Oh yeah, we need to go to Witch's thing, don't we?
Witch's Drop, yeah.
Yeah, we need to go there. That's where we've not been.
Oh no, we can't go to Witch's Drop. You'll probably fall off the edge. It's really unsure that.
But we've been before, though, haven't we?
Eh?
We've been before.
Do you want to go?
On to top there, we've been. I know it's a bit bumpy and that, but
Walk all the way around to get up there. All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit bumpy, like, but we've stood on top of there before, the Witch's Drop. So this is where Ian's going to throw me off.
We've got to show you that large stone there. People have apparently done sacrifice.
Satanic. What's your opinion, Ian,
Cool.
of Hoover Stand?
Well, there's only one person ever died there, from what I can tell, and that was.
I hear a lot of stories, and Charlene's on here as well. If she's here.
Charlene.
Yeah, she'll be on here.
Hello, Charlene.
She's done a lot of research about like Hoover Stand and things like that.
Yeah.
Every time I look into it, there's always like sacrifices and a lot. But when you research the building, it's got nothing to do with.
No, I think one workman had an accident and he died, but he didn't die on the site. And then down in the bottom is a tunnel, a passage in the wall, which is blocked off now. But that's apparently been used by a witch's coven.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I've ever heard. I've never picked up.
I know there's photos of like an altar as such, and there's been like a bird in there or whatever.
Right.
Looks like it's been
that's a recent
sacrificed.
thing, then. That's a
Recent thing, yeah.
I know there's some areas around here which are involved in witchcraft, which is quite modern, but it goes back many hundreds of years. And there's particular places where people involved in witchcraft use those places over generations.
Yeah.
And it gets passed down. So there is that, and it is an ancient wood, so that's a possibility. So I don't know about the recent activity. Well, I mean, witchcraft is just another.
It's just another
religion, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, to me, witchcraft's wonderful.
If you're on here, Carla, we're up your street here.
It works in conjunction with nature and intent, doesn't it? Because if your intent, if like I was saying before, what you experience in your life is true to you, and if we emanate our own existence, if our existence is portrayed for us, then there's no reason why, if you want something enough, that you can't actually change the emanation of your own life and create it. So I think in a way that's what spells are, by getting particular things, putting them all together, mixing them together and create, so that creates the intent. So that when you've actually done it, you've got the intent, it opens up the belief structure, and then it creates the environment for something to occur in future time. And I think it's all down to personal belief. It's always going to be. And I think witchcraft is a wonderful thing because it does work in conjunction with nature. And I've made wands for people, and we know that wands are a way of direction intent. Okay, you could do the same thing without a wand, and a lot of witches do. But the wand is a way of directing all your energy into one thought process in order to be able to allow something to happen. And I've made wands for people from what called Lady of the Wood, silver birch.
People get like them like branches what are all like knotted up and that. You can find them.
I think you choose your own branch.
Yeah.
Like you choose your own destiny. So what I do is, because the person I'm making the wand for isn't there, what I do is I think of the person, and then I think of an area of the wood which really portrays that person, and then I find myself drawn to a particular branch, and then I would make the wand out of things like a knife that I've got in the wood. I'd make it there. Then I'd leave it in the wood, so somewhere where the moon can see overnight, and then I'd go pick it up, take it and send it to the person, and then they can do the ritual to bond to the wand. Now it's all about intent and it's all about personal belief. So that's what I've done. I've done a few of them now. I've got my own. But for me, it's about intent. And I think when we're talking about, taking a life in order for something to happen, again, it's intent. If you believe that by taking the life of an animal or a person or whatever it is, and then that energy which comes from that animal or whatever will give you the ability to be able to do something. It will empower your thought process. Again, it's a belief structure. Some people do that, and it's given, we call it good and bad witchcraft, don't we?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's
white
all
witch,
different.
black witch.
Yeah.
It's just.
I don't know what kind of witchcraft's been done up in these woods, but there's so many documented things, like an urban legend about this wood at the top here.
I mean, it may have not even happened. You know what I mean?
Sorry?
It might have not even happened.
It might not have even happened. But we do know that there were people in this area who were witches who were killed.
Yeah.
During that time. So it looks like, it possibly is a place where that was done. It's a classic location for it.
But when and I've invested here before, and I've been round there, I've used like a device, one of them like that, one of where the words, random word thing comes through, and I was stood there, and I was calling out, and I literally got witch,
all right, okay,
and then hanging straight after. And it was weird, and I was in the spot.
Would that be a spirit box or an ovulus?
Like an ovulus.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it's got preset sounds in there, hasn't it? So it's preset
yeah,
words,
but basically they say that it's a device where they can pick
words.
A word or whatever. It's very strange, but it's worked. I don't know. It might be all chance, and it might all be like I've got lucky and I've got a good response. Yeah. But sometimes I do it and you do get relative responses.
But you've also got to think to yourself: is it the spirit which is doing it, or is it your intent which is causing that to happen?
Yeah, your thought.
You're creating that situation for that to actually come back. Yeah. It really is all up and down, mate. You walk down so many different roads in so many directions. Eventually, you drive yourself mad. And I think science pushes itself so far to the point where it can't go any further. And then that's why you get mad scientists, because they literally go off their head. They're looking for answers, and they're just looking in every direction. And I've done it myself. The deeper into it you go, the further away you seem to get. The more you look, the more questions you end up with. And eventually, it just drives you mad.
Yeah.
That's why I walked away from it initially when I first started doing it. I spent years and years studying it. I learnt as much as I could possibly learn. And all I was finding were more questions.
Yeah.
So you end up where scientists
I suppose it's a time where you just think you've got to, a cut-off point where you've got to be... I don't know if you're like...
Whatever these things are, we can take it, their energy.
Yeah.
Right? So they're not physical. So we can't see them as they are. But what we can see is their interaction on the world around us, and that's what we're seeing. These EVPs, these strange light anomalies, these strange recordings and documented evidence, all that is the reaction of them, how they've interacted with the world that we're in. We're not actually able to see them. We can't see beyond the veil. The only people that can pick up from beyond the veil are medium.
Yeah.
A medium is an advanced psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
It's like with EMF meters and that. I had a guy once telling me, he goes, EMF meters are all from the Ghostbusters film, and paranormal investigators have got the idea that you use the EMF meters from Ghostbusters, and I'm like thinking, that can't be.
And you've got AC and DC, and your DC is your man-made electromagnetic energy, and your AC is naturally ambient.
Because when they would have researched the film, they would have been like, well, paranormal investigators use this, so let's...
It worked the other way around. The film did the research and created that from the science.
Yeah. So, when people are saying stupid things like, oh, you only use them because it was in Ghostbusters, do you know what I mean?
They're talking from intelligence. They're not researching before they speak.
Yeah.
And this is always
the film is researched, and, and they've had to imply, put that in to the film.
Yeah.
Some of the things I hear in comments and things like that, it's just I just have to walk out. You have to delete the app for a bit, because it's like...
The problem is that people need to empower themselves with information, but because not only does it give you personally the information, but it also gives you the building blocks in order to be able to defend yourself against people who don't know what they're talking about. Because it's easy for somebody who don't know what they're talking about just to come out with anything they want to.
Yeah.
You're the one that's got to do the work in order to be able to defend yourself, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be for the other person.
What I've learned in my 32 years, there's always going to be someone who knows more than you.
Yeah.
You know, there's always somebody.
All things to do.
Yeah. You know, I've just learnt to accept that. You know, the amount of times I've humoured people, just have agreed with them, just for sake of argument.
Yeah.
You know, just going, all right, that's what you think. Brilliant.
That's my problem. I can't.
Yeah.
And I end up in more hassle and falling out with people, and then everybody hates you. And if there's somebody who's a YouTuber or on Facebook who's well known, and then suddenly you have an argument or you have you have a fallout, all them people immediately go against you.
Yeah.
And then where does it leave you? And I find myself thinking, I can't be bothered anymore, I'll just walk away. I think I'm doing all this work, putting all this effort in and trying to help so many people. And as soon as somebody who doesn't know what they're on about attacks you, then you're the one who fails.
Yeah, it's
this is a really old trick.
Yeah. It's a tough
subject.
It's
you've got to be very thick-skinned.
It's only like music, you know, with your bands, and you've got you know, in any field really, you're going to get.
Of course you are. I just don't deal idiots very well.
Well, no, I'm very good at humouring people. I'm very good at, like, just agreeing with someone just so I can get to sleep at night. You know what I mean? It's like I could
ponder on it.
It's like
steady on your method.
I could be like a dog with a bone and not let this go, or I could, you know, just agree with them. And
I'm just really bad for it, and I can't back down. You know, if you know somebody's wrong, and they in front of everybody else, they're trying to tell you that you're wrong, and I'm like, no, I can't. Right, here we are, we're at the big rock.
Okay then, guys, thanks so much for watching. We're at the Witch's Drop now, I believe it's called.
This is where I slept.
Hi, Michelle. Sharon. How are we doing? Top fan, Cheryl. Yeah, if you get the opportunity for the top fan badge, please accept it. It's just an imaginary thing, what makes me feel good about myself. Right, this is going to be a bit bumpy, so this...
It's about 30 foot.
This is the drop, guys.
Right, so
this is where they throw them off.
Right, this is the stone. This is the stone where apparently they used to do...
all the rituals.
Sacrifices, the one you're standing on. And that's where I slept.
Yeah, you slept in there.
If you go and watch my video, you'll see it. I slept a lot across here, and with my feet that direction, and at about 3 o'clock in the morning, I jumped out my sleeping bag and I wandered off around monastery, right all around the fruit monastery itself and everything, and then came back again. But I didn't experience anything particularly paranormal at all, just some really strange feelings every now and again.
So we're overlooking the monastery, you know, the ruins, and this would have been allegedly where they chucked the witches off, and if they survived.
I'll just put my new batteries in and see if I can get people to see down onto the monastery, yeah?
Yeah.
Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan. I think people are enjoying it. I think people have enjoyed this.
So. I know I talk a lot, but I'm trying to...
No, people are finding it interesting, and it's something different to consider. Liz is on. Liz is active in the community.
Can you shine your light down here a little bit so I can see where my batteries go? Because it's pretty well pitch black, that's it. These torches are great. I'm doing this so that people can see down onto the monastery, because it's a brilliant perspective.
It'd be nice here to, you know, if you were a painter or something, just to sit on edge and just...
I think some do. It's a place where not everybody knows of.
Yeah.
Ah, we are, look. Can they see?
Shiny light across. Should be able
Can you see people? There, yeah, I think they can. Oh, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's so basically where you're shining the light is you're shining the light on the massive view of the monastery.
What I did also when I was up here, because my bivvy bag was outside of there, I actually sat on this rock and just sat here and looking out of the monastery to see if I could see anything weird. But you got to remember, this is where they actually threw them off, so...
Yeah. Steady down there.
Oh, I'm good, mate. There's a tree broke off there. It's about to fall down. See that?
Yeah, just fell. Looks
Silver
like somebody's been swinging off that.
Yeah, silver birch, Lady of the Wood. That's the classic wood that they would use for making witches, what call it? Wands.
Wands.
Yeah, it's called Lady of the Wood, and it's all about creation, etc., etc., new birth. I love witchcraft. I love Wiccan, and I love it all, and I like to study it. And I'm not personally involved in witchcraft or anything, but I just love the subject, and I love how it explains nature.
So it's all a good subject.
Oh, it is.
Brilliant. We've maintained a good iron mark. Yeah. Yeah, Ian's very knowledgeable about this area. Did you say that you were? Was it you, or you knew somebody went in a pub and went just write on a piece of paper, tell me everything you know about Roche Abbey or whatever?
Yeah. I've had quite a few people do that.
Yeah.
Because
just to get people's folk stories and.
Yeah, what it is I mean, I don't mind, but what I've had to do, as I did with Castleton when I used to run Castleton Ghost Tour, what you have to do is you have to look at what's online about the history. You have to find out about the genealogy of the place and the geography of the place. You have to go out and put booklets and things out into pubs and give it to people to get stories that they know. And then you're always going to get the odd story which don't really mean anything, but sometimes you get the same story which turns up in different pubs over an extended area of about 6 miles. And what that means is that story has been out there in circulation for such a long time. It's emanated out into a larger area, yeah. So a larger demographic. So you know that's a significant story. So you can take it on board and try to look at all the component parts of it to put the story back together as it should be.
Piece by piece.
And that's it. That's what I did with Roche Abbey. That's where a lot of these stories come from that I'm telling you, this urban legend and folklore. It's not just offline, you can't find it online, it's from the local people.
And this is where people like Charlene as well, who puts a blog on and puts all the information what's been collected.
Yes.
And puts it on the blogs and the...
That's why it's important to do that. But when you get somebody comes along and just says to you, tell me all the stuff about Roche Abbey, they've not had to do the work.
Yeah.
Do you get me? And I don't mind that, but I think it's good for people to go out, because if you just get it given to you, you don't get all the building blocks to them stories, so you don't understand it inside out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing this video here, and this video that you're doing, is giving people that information. So if they want to come down and do an investigation here, the information's there for them, it's given to them.
Yeah.
But I would advise people always to go out into the community and find out other people's stories, things which might have happened lately. For example, there were a couple who went into the gatehouse and committed suicide in a car by putting a pipe from the exhaust into the car, and they died. That's a thing which has happened lately. Yeah, around about then, yeah.
Early 90s.
So if people weren't to mention that in society, nobody would know that it's happened.
Well, I didn't know that at the time. The first time I came here, I was in there and I was getting a bit of activity, and somebody messaged me on my page, and they said, "Oh, there's no wonder why you got activity in there, because it were a relation to him. My so and so died in there," and it was wow.
Same happened to me. I was running a ghost tour, and we're going to the gatehouse, and I was explaining. You see, there's lots of stories we weren't even covering here. I was explaining how I was doing an investigation once. I was just setting the camera up, and I suddenly saw on the camera this light spiralling mist spinning in the middle of the gatehouse, and by the time I got to push the camera, it had gone. Yeah, so I was explaining that to somebody during the ghost tour. Then they came back and gave me that information, and that information was freely available. I just hadn't heard about it. So it's so important that these stories get told, so that everybody gets to pass it on through the generations.
Definitely.
Shall we take a walk back up then, matey?
Yeah, Charlotte. Hi, Phil and Ian. Loving your convo. It's great. Charlene says your memory is fantastic.
I'm glad that you've asked me to do this, because it's an opportunity, because I don't have a big following.
No, but I know people. But yeah, like I said to you in car, just take everything with a pinch of salt. you know, and don't feel strongly about everything, and just let what will be will be. You just do your thing, I do my thing. I'll let you go first and follow you, because.
And I'll shine light down for you.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you asking me along. I can't build
Well,
up a following.
You were going first, and I said, "I'll come."
Yeah, that's right.
Can I come?
So when people, I'm on groups on Facebook, and then I'll post my videos in, and sometimes it looks like I'm spamming. Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
My YouTube channel's not monetized, and I'm not spamming, because all I'm trying to do is share the information.
You need 1,000 subscribers now to get monetised
Nice,
on eBay. YouTube.
I'm not even bothered about monetizing.
And my channel's monetised, and
Yeah.
when people like have donated on like the super chat, but like the revenue I get off the videos, it's nothing to retire off.
No.
Do you know what I mean? You need to be getting millions and millions of views.
But you put the work in.
You know what I mean? It's not money. It's not about the money for me. Brilliant if someone said, "Phil, do you want a job doing it? We'll pay you."
Can I have one?
I'd be like, "Brilliant."
I'll do it.
I'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." You know, I've been on the Paranormal Caught on Camera TV show. They contacted me, and
I always said that. I said that to Lee Steer ages ago. It'd be so nice to get on national TV to pass the information over to people without it being biased or making things up or glamorising it. And can't see that happening anytime soon.
they're all asking for a ghost tour, you know. Here.
If they want one, just charge people a couple of quid for fuel.
Yeah, Iain will probably sort something out, guys, and follow him on his YouTube or whatever, and just keep an eye out. Something might happen. Probably we wouldn't charge you an extensive amount of money. You know, just a couple of quid or something. You know what I mean?
Just to cover fuel for being there.
Do you know what I mean? But you know, that's something in the future. You know what I mean? No set in stone. Like I said, guys, if you get asked about the top fan badge.
I want a top fan badge.
Well, get on a stream and get watching. You get the top fan badge.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased that that's been enabled on the page.
And we're back at the top, matey.
Yeah, we're back.
Well, thank you to everybody for watching me and watching Phil.
Yeah.
And, well, for Phil for running this so that you guys were here. Otherwise, you just have my little video on my YouTube channel. And I've only got, you know what, I've got 250 subscribers, and most of them are bushcrafters, not even into paranormal. If you can, go and have a look. Subscribe.
If you need any footage of this live stream, just take it. No, rip it or whatever. And then
that's all right.
you can edit in, like, you know, into your video.
That one anyway, so.
Yeah, I mean, because you get the option of downloading videos. Yeah, so it's all been good, guys. You know, we've all watched and we're all enjoying it, and it's been good. If you haven't done so already, please, you know, leave a like on the page. You will be notified when I'm live, etc. YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed this. You know, thanks a lot. Leave a like on the video on YouTube. Helps me out. It's all good stuff. And Iain of Hauntastic Events. There's plenty of videos on there already. Little snippets, 2 minutes long. There's not like big, like half an hour marathons or anything like that. It's straight to the point, clipped down to about 2 minutes. And it's just got like EVPs, his equipment going absolutely berserk. You know, his scientific tri-field meter and whistling away and in the Wombwell Woods.
That explains it on video why like natural tri-field meter were just going mad when it didn't need to be.
Yeah, I mean, what's that tri-field meter doing? It's like detecting natural
ambient electromagnetic energy.
Yeah, so
it's nature, so it shouldn't have been doing that.
Yeah, so it shouldn't really be going on.
Also, it's the camera as well. At the same time, the camera, as it happens, the camera carries on recording audio but stops recording video.
Yeah.
And then comes back on again after it's happened. It's bizarre.
I think to really experience the paranormal, you need to do what Iain does and bite the bullet and just do it. You know what I mean? And but they called it like a lockdown.
Yeah. Just put yourself in a position
where you just literally,
preferably on your own.
You know, I mean, you know, Nick Groff, the guy who used to be on Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Lockdown. It's 72 hours in like asylums, just him and Katrina, just him on this like little fold-out bed, just listening with his ears, just like laid in dark, listening. See, there's like, can hear footsteps of people walking about and things laughing and that in corridors and that.
Scary, that, wouldn't it?
Or you watch it and you think that you get shivers down your spine. You know what I mean? Because you can hear like distant laughing and in like, you know, these like Waverley Hills and all that lot. I'd love to go there. I'd love it. Waverley Hills.
Starting off to Roche Abbey, mate.
Yeah, let's get there. There's a lot of places in America. But when you watch the footage, there were a time in America where they didn't know what to do with the people, you know, what had like mental health issues and things like that. So basically they just threw them all in like a building and they all used to just live in squalor, you know, like you watch old videos and that and it's terrible. It's heartbreaking to see. Because they didn't have the skills, they didn't have the equipment to find out what were up with these people. They usually just get them, parents couldn't cope with them and used to just get them in these sanatoriums and put them in. But there's old video footage of them all in overfilled rooms and.
You know, before we're talking about stone tape theory.
Yeah.
Well, people in a little village up here where you live,
yeah.
Ironically, we're talking about seeing monks and things around the houses, in the houses.
Yeah.
Possibly not realising that the houses are actually built from the stone, from the...
Middlewood Asylum is they've knocked it all, they've turned it all into a block of flats now. Yeah. But I've heard that they've like weird stuff are happening inside the flats, you know, because it's like it's the same, like people are saying like, I can hear like people laughing and that in my house because it's like it's literally the same walls, but they've just turned it into flats.
Wow.
And the Middlewood Asylum,
me, I think.
Sheffield.
We're done.
Done. Okay then, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a long one. I hope you all found this interesting. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Like Phil Sinclair Paranormal Investigation. Subscribe on YouTube. Add me as a friend on Facebook if you like, or like the pages, whatever. Twitter, Instagram. And I've got my top fans, moderators who was on, brilliant job. Hauntastic Events is Iain's page. Thank you so much for watching us tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow, there will be a live investigation tomorrow as well. So, good night, guys. God bless.